Do you remember your freshman year of college? Unfortunately, I remember mine. I blew through 3 roommates, all who complained, literally, that I woke up too happy. And I remember my RD leaning forward. She had taken Counseling 101. So she was leaning forward, and she literally said to me, "Nancy, did it ever occur to you that your continual state of happiness and high energy can be really annoying?" Friends, have you ever been asked, would you mind taking it down a few notches? And all you really felt like saying was, yes, I mind. I grew up with 2 parents who were college professors. They had very, very high expectations. They knew it was higher, not lower learning I was going into. They always said to me when we were little girls and going outside, they said, "Remember, kids, you didn't wake up today to be average." They would send to me, "Hey, Nance, if you see that which other people don't see, do something about it." They would say, "Hey, be happy. You have so much to be grateful for, because not only should you be happy for your sake, but because those you serve deserve your happiness." And I recognized along the way 3 very consistent traits of happy people. 1, you know you matter. What you do every day makes a difference. 2, you own it. You control your destiny. And thirdly, you're appreciative. Instead of whining, you're grateful for what you do. I mean, is there anything better than working in higher education? But trust me, I'm going to put a little disclaimer on this. I get it. I get it. I know that life happens, that bad things happen to very good people, and that life isn't always fair. Despite being a very happy person by my DNA, I remember 5 months into my marriage and being in my office as an assistant dean of students and spinning around in the chair, and people know to never give Nancy a chair in meetings that has wheels on it. But I remember getting a call, and my secretary said, "Hey, Nancy, Dr. Iannuzzi is on the phone." And I'm thinking, Dr. Iannuzzi, what department is he with? And I picked up the phone and I said, "Well, good morning, Dr. Iannuzzi. How are you today?" And he said, "Mrs. Denney, your husband's test results are in, and he tested positive for Hodgkin's disease." And I said, "Hodgkin's disease?" And he said, "Yes, that's cancer, Mrs. Denney. You need to come in with him this afternoon." Friends, at that moment, something inside of me went to autopilot. At that moment, someone who was always happy fell really hard because I had farther to fall and hadn't practiced resilience along the way. And so I spent the next year at his side supporting him as he went through treatments and then got into remission. And then, despite the smile on my face, I had a nervous breakdown. He supported me until I got the counseling and the help I needed. And then, friends, we literally took it one day at a time, one step at a time, until we found a new normal. I continued to work and serve students and tried to fake that happiness, but inside I was still on autopilot. And then I was blessed, very blessed with 1 child. We didn't even know we could have any. In 1991, and then 15 months later, I had a 2nd child. And the best times were those 3 months on maternity leave, when I could just be and just try to get my act together. And I felt my insides starting to warm up. And then I recall dropping my daughter and my son off at childcare in Massachusetts, and you had to be there right at 8 o'clock, and you had to pick them up by 6 o'clock, or they put your kid outside with a little sign that says, "No one loves me," and then a big fine. And I remember looking in the mirror one morning and recognizing that I had become somewhat of a hot mess, that everything I had wanted had arrived. So why was I miserable? Why did I not know which way was up? Why was I wearing out to the office? My boss kept a brush in her front desk, and more days than not, she would come in and say, whoops, you forgot something today. My life was crazy, spinning out of control. And I was waiting for that sign. You know how Oprah is waiting for that big sign that she should run to be president? Okay, I was waiting for the sign that I should get a clue, that I should get back some control of my life. And finally, when I was looking at my days and the secretary would call and say, childcare is on the phone, I'd go, oh. Mrs. Denney, Caitlin has thrown up. She has thrown up twice in an hour. That's a violation of Massachusetts state law. You need to come and get your daughter. And so I would go pick up Kate. And then the next day, invariably, I'd be at the office, and at this point, my secretary was a little nervous, didn't even walk in. She'd yell from outside, Nancy, it's childcare, pick up the phone. And I'd pick up the phone, and literally, Mrs. Denney, Jake has pooped. Jake has pooped too much in the last hour. This is against regulations. Come get your son. I literally went, shit. My two blessings had become two burdens. My two blessings had become two burdens. And so I dropped them off at childcare one morning. Snow was up to here. It was night. And my heart broke. I every day to work. But I got to the office and put a smile on my face. So I'm on my way, and there's this little boy on the corner. And I'm thinking, how is that kid going to get beyond all of these snowbanks? And I look at the little boy, and I get out of my car, because I'm going to help him, gosh darn it. So I get out, and just as I go up to him, he looks at me, and he literally says, hey, lady, will you take my hand? Hey, lady, will you help me cross the street? And the warmth I felt when I took that little boy's hand, friends, resonated in my soul that morning. And I got back into the car, I put my hands on the steering wheel, and I literally said out loud, I quit. Now, I didn't tell anybody that for another 3 months. But I had made the decision, and decisions can be very, very freeing. So I went into the office, got in my chair, spun around, and I went, what do I know how to do that someone will pay me to do? And I said, talk. I know how to talk. So I called my friend, wonderful gentleman by the name of Dr. Will Keim, and I said, Will, I've decided I'm going to become a speaker just like you. Do you have any advice? And I took out my memo pad. I had paper and pen. And my friend Will on the other end of the phone said, yes, Nancy, roll your clothes. Roll your clothes. And he said, because you're going to be traveling a lot, and if you roll your clothes as a speaker, they won't get wrinkled. Isn't it awesome to have people around us who just give us that unconditional, positive regard and support, as opposed to saying, now you know, if you quit higher education, you'll never get a job again. And I'm thinking, you know, sometimes that's the point. But think about what I was being told. So in 1993, I went to my boss and I said, I just need to let you know I'm resigning. And do you know what she said to me? Thank God. And instead of being offended, she followed that up with, because I know you're not happy. I know this has been very hard for you. So I did what I needed to do to make the change. And I developed something that was called in 2000, my first book, Life by Design, The Future Plan. And it is a simple 5-phase process, my friends, that gets you from where you are to where you want to be. And it starts off by just asking yourself, am I really happy? Asking yourself, do I rent, own, or lease my life? If I could be doing something differently, is there something different? Then it's followed by, so what would that be? If you really could do anything or be anything or make adjustments, what would it look like? Get rid of those limiting beliefs. And then it asks you to organize your thoughts a little bit and plan. What is the level of risk you are willing to undertake to get where you want to be? How valuable is your life? What are you willing to do differently? If nothing changes, my friends, nothing changes. And then you got to do the work. You got to enact the plan. You got to let people know what you want. Set deadlines. Find people to hold you accountable. And say, hey, I have an idea. Will you help me out? And then you hit phase 5, where you're more empowered, where you've reached the point where you say, what now? What next? What can I do to even refine what I've already done? Now, my husband and I, we have been, lucky for him, married for 30 years. And never once in that 30 years did he request a roommate change. Never once in that 30 years did he get mad at me for waking up too happy. And never once in that 30 years did he judge me for not wanting to be average. Friends, I wish for you happiness, not only for your sake, but because those you serve deserve your happiness. You are who they get. Thank you so much.